Thank you for coming all the way from Squamish today, right?
No.
Okay, you didn't. Okay, I feel much better. All right. So she was nearby, which is great. But her center is based in Squamish. And originally, it was actually a Chopra certified center. So Deepak Chopra, they have these centers around the world. And she was leading the one here in Vancouver. And then decided that, hey, there's this model of the Paradise Valley Healing Center that we can do here for the community. Now, it advocates for many things, such as greater public awareness of addictions and its societal effects, as well as having people's support for, the traumatizing effects of addiction, depression, anxiety. PTSD is a very big one. And many of the folks that we work with, when people understand what PTSD is and how it affects them and the generational trauma, it's eye-opening. And of course, you're a published author and it's been on TV, Joy Television. And a real honor to have both of you here today with us. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you all. Thank you for having me. And also acknowledge it takes courage. Some of you shared your personal story. And this is what healing is about, is being able to share your story. And as you share your story, more healing happens. Not only that, but you also allow that space and reduce the stigma around healing so others can heal. So my name is Nirmala with Paradise Valley Healing Center. My journey goes just like everybody else's journey. There is a journey and there is a story. It goes back roughly 34 years ago when I opened the first clinic in New Westminster that actually was about treating those people who were using opioids. These days, everybody knows about opioids. We know how many people are dying every day, but I'm talking about back in 1988, 89. I didn't know anything about addiction. I didn't know anything about mental health. But I'll tell you what I knew is I'm also an immigrant to this country. And the place I come from, my center is called Paradise Valley Healing Center. I also come from a paradise, which is Fiji Islands. And some of the things that I saw as a student going in the bus, passing through Maine and Hastings, I would see people who were not well. If you paid me thousands of dollars at that time to get off the bus and go in that area, I'd never do that. And it's because I'd never seen people not well. That was my fear at the time, not understanding, not knowing. So fast forwarding, not too long thereafter, universe orchestrated it so that I would come into this place where I'd be doing work with people who actually were suffering with mental health and addiction issues. Currently, if you do some research, in the world, roughly about, depending on who's done the research, 800 million people suffer from mental health and addiction. If you look at the numbers in Canada, we have roughly 6 million mental health issues. I'm not sure the numbers for addiction, but these numbers are just what the research shows. But at the end of the day, I think there's more people who are suffering, and the reason they are not asking for help is because of the shame and stigma. So over the decades of being in this field, while I ran outpatient addiction clinics for opioids, I also set up a residential treatment center, because addiction is not about just stopping. It is about bringing in tools that can help you cope. And this happens in a variety of ways, whether it's outpatient counseling, inpatient center, detox, healthcare providers. We have, we've been talking. But at the end of the day, what does it take? It takes a community. It takes a community to help people. And how does that community, how do we do that? Is by having compassion. I mean, I remember from my journey, I was scared. But trust me, the first person that walked in that door when I started that first clinic was this young man, and I can still picture him. He was very well dressed. He was a barber. He was using heroin, but he needed to be on a program. So the stigma comes from, I can talk about me, that I was scared when I saw those people were not well. But when this person walks in the door, it's again our judgment, right? So coming from a place of non-judgment, that addiction and mental health touches everyone. It touches all lives. And what else does it take to help and heal people? Besides the community and compassion, is care. We need to care. And it takes courage. We had Sunny who shared his story. It takes courage for a person to show up to heal. It does take courage. And this is, I'm talking with experience, seeing people over many decades, thousands of people who have come to the door wanting help, wanting a change, a life outside of mental health and addiction, outside of that emotional pain and trauma. It also takes a commitment. So those people who show up, they have to do the hard work, like it was shared by Alistair as well. And it does take hard work, trust me. It is not an easy journey, so I'm not going to paint a picture here that you know, you can go into a treatment center in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, everything's going to go away. That is just a beginning of a journey of healing. It's a process. It takes time. It takes years. But results will be there, trusting that process of healing. Connection is very important. Being connected with your loved ones, with your family, with your community for support. I think it's very important in your healing journey. And when I think of the word trauma, the first word is T, is trusting. Trusting that healing process, trusting that journey, and doing that hard work. Whatever, whether it's your therapist, whether it's the treatment center, whether it's your doctor, I think you have to trust. At the end of the day, you have to trust your own self, that you can make through this. The next alphabet is R, recovery. And recovery is a process. It does take time. Like I said, it is a process. It's not going to happen in 30 days, 60 days. Sometimes it takes years. I mean, I have seen people who have gone into treatment. They have done the work. They left. They had to come back again, because as you heal, as the body heals, as the mind heals, you will have memories. You will remember things. And you need to continue to use the tools. And it's a process. The next alphabet is A, which is giving yourself that attention, appreciation, and affection. I think we forget when we are traumatized, when we are suffering, when we are in pain, that guilt and shame, it prevents us from giving those tools to us, and we think we don't deserve it. Trust me, I think we all deserve to heal, we all deserve to feel, and we all deserve that love. But we can get stuck in those stories of our memories, of being traumatized, or being whatever that story was for each individual. The story can be similar, but each person will have an experience, and they will heal differently. The next alphabet is U, is understanding. I think it's not your fault. It's not the individual's fault that something happened to them. But I think they need to understand, and also those people around them, the family and friends, and the community need to understand these things happen to a lot of people. But even though it happens, we can all heal. My favorite is M, which is meditation, mindfulness, movement. As we are healing, we need to bring in more practices. We had someone who talked about therapy, which is one part of the process of healing. There's the physician's part, there's a medication part, but there's also meditation and movement. When we bring about all these practices, and one of them, which I feel is very important, is breath, is paying attention to your breath. When we are stressed, when we are anxious, we forget to breathe. And if you can bring some breathing practices on a day-to-day basis, taking that pause, especially when you get angry, take a pause and just recenter yourself. A, again, is acceptance. Acceptance of that you are a whole person. We are not less, we are not more, we are all whole, and we are all, again, a community. I just want to share very briefly about some of the other tools that I put together in this ebook, which is 7 Pillars of Wellbeing. The first pillar is emotional regulation, and it's already been discussed that, you know, we need to heal our emotions. Most people, they don't do well is because they are holding on to that emotional pain. They can't let go of stories. I've seen people who've come to our center who have held on to a story that happened when they were age 15, 20. They held on to the stories for 30, 40, 50, 60 years. That's a long time to punish yourself. The second is sleep. Sleep is very important. When we are in deep sleep, our body heals. So it's important to get that good sleep. Third is, again, our mindfulness and meditation. I think it's a very powerful tool in healing. Fourth is movement. We all need to move. We need to do some form of exercise, whether it's yoga, whether it's Tai Chi, whether it's going for a walk, going for a run. When we move, our brain actually releases those feeling good chemicals that allows healing to happen. Nutrition. When we are not doing well, when we are in fight and flight, or when we are depressed, when we're anxious, our eating habits is poor. So as we heal, pay attention to your nutrition. I think it's very important. The sixth is relationships. When we are in struggling in our behaviors, we lose relationships. Sunny talked about it quite a bit, that our relationships are very important. And as we heal, integrate those relationship backs, and especially want to say something to the families. If you have a loved one who's struggling with mental health and addiction, I think it's very, very difficult for that individual. They go into treatment, they do the work, you haven't done any work, and there's this expectation that miracles going to happen and everything's going to become normal. It doesn't become normal. But there's hope that when you work together as family, as community, that we can heal each other. And through compassion, through non-judgment, you can support the individuals to be in that healing path. So empower people. Take a moment and thank those people who are actually in recovery, because it is a difficult work. It takes a lot of effort. And often the person who's struggling, they just feel shame. I mean, if they make one mistake, they know the family is looking at them and they're being judged. So how can we do this? It's through that non-judgment. And the last one is laughter. I think we need to laugh more. Laughter also releases good chemicals in our brain, and it does make us feel good. I mean, in our pain, I mean, I've seen people also laugh, and it's a good way of connecting. And every day, just take that moment and just laugh at nothing, or just laugh, because laughter is an important part of healing process. So once again, thank you so much, and I hope this sharing will allow all of us to connect, be a community, come from a place of compassion, non-judgment, and reducing that stigma so that there's space for more people to heal. Namaste. Thank you.
Beautifully said, and thank you so much, guys, for spending your time with us and your wisdom and sharing so heartfelt your experiences. Because for us to learn from each other is the best way to learn. You don't want to learn from your own mistakes. So thank you again, guys, and for the kindness of being with us today. Appreciate it. Thank you.